You're listening to the AfterBuzz TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AfterBuzz Studios in Los Angeles, California, presented by Maria Menounos and streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is AfterBuzz TV's Extreme Weight Loss After Show. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest news and gossip. And now, another post-game wrap-up show for your favorite TV show. It's AfterBuzz TV's Extreme Weight Loss After Show.
We are working it out. Jackie, what are you doing?
I love me some Beyonce.
We had to do Crazy in Love because, of course, this is Extreme Weight Loss AfterBuzz TV show. And it is the episode of Cassie. And I don't know about you, but Crazy in Love, I think, described her to a T.
I just have to finish out the no. You can't put Beyonce on and not dance.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
right. I agree.
I love Beyonce. But yes, tonight's episode, Crazy in Love, that's our theme because Cassie was crazy in love.
She was crazy in love, but I do love Cassie. I say that every week.
We were obsessed again tonight. Anxiety up the roof, and I loved every moment of it.
Absolutely. And I am your host, Morgan Martin.
Hey, everybody. I'm Jackie Powell.
And so let's just dive right in. I mean, Cassie everybody always just tugs at my heartstrings just from the top of the show. And, you know, so Cassie, you know, just starting off, even the big thing is always how and why do they get to this point? And for her, it was the adoption of her son at age 20.
Yeah, this episode was another episode for me that tugged my heart in a bunch of different directions. Very emotional. I really liked Cassie, though. At first, I was just like, I didn't know at first. At first, I was like, she kind of complains a lot, but she's totally stole my heart at the end of the show. So I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, and I mean, even just starting from the beginning, of course, so we found out that she, gave up her son for adoption at age 20. And then we see her life with her husband. Ryan, thank God you got your life together because I don't know how you guys lived together for so long. They they were separated. I mean, they pretty much, she said that they were really, really genuine roommates.
Like roommates. And what I thought was crazy is that, okay, I understand you watch TV. If you watch TV for hours, okay, that's your thing. But to be in the same room with your husband watching TV, but watching separate shows with headphones on, so you're just like, you're not even watching the same show together.
Hashtag crazy in love.
Hashtag crazy in love.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to use that for the rest of the show.
Absolutely.
Every time we talk about their crazy antics. But I thought that was crazy that, you know, I like to watch TV. It's something I enjoy to do, but I can't imagine being in the same room with somebody else and being plugged up and watching a different show.
Yeah.
That was nuts.
And my favorite moment, you see her actually watching Extreme Weight Loss, and she sat there and she said, Chris, if Chris could come into my home right now and watch me watching Extreme Weight Loss with, I think she had a thing of popcorn, cake, like a whole bunch of things, like completely lounged out. And she got her wish because here comes Chris popping through the TV, talking directly to her.
I think that would trip me out.
I was going to ask you that. What would you do if Chris Powell came talking to you through the television?
I'd be like, is this real life? I would just automatically jump on the floor and maybe do some push-ups. Like, I was just doing push-ups, Chris. That's all I was doing. I would definitely freak out, that's for sure.
Oh, and that's exactly what she did. His very first challenge to her, because of course Chris is all about the challenges, was that they have 5 TVs in their house. There was a moving truck outside in their driveway, and they had to pack up all 5 of their TVs, ship them into the truck, and then they went through and they made a pact between her and her husband that they would stop drinking because she knew that was one of the things that attributed to her weight. TV watching and drinking.
Yeah, I think I would have a difficult time with this. I think obviously it was smart of Chris to make them take those things out of their life. Not the drinking part, but the TV part. It's like, where are you going with my big, large screen TV? You better come back with that. But I think it was really good that he challenged them with that considering those are the two things that she struggles with the most.
Yeah. And it was the beginning of kind of this up and down roller coaster between Cassie and Ryan, who is her husband, because right before she left, you know, they had made this pact of they're not going to drink. He said he's going to change his life. So she left with this hope of like, I'm going to go to boot camp and I'm going to change my life. My husband's going to stay and he's going to change his life too. And kind of didn't. And I know we'll get more into that a little later on because there's a lot of ups and downs of hashtag crazy in love.
Hashtag crazy in love. But it was really cool. So she goes, and she's doing good. And Chris gave her a goal to lose 101 pounds, which I think is reasonable.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
she started off and she was 347 pounds when she first went to boot camp.
Right. So I thought 101 pounds was, you know, reasonable to lose. But then we start seeing her, and she's like frailing around a little bit, you know, being like, this is hard. And then ultimately telling Heidi, I want to go home. I want to go home. I don't know what happened. I'm mad that they didn't show that. Something happened because Heidi was like, you know, it took one little thing to make her want to go home, but they never talked about what that one little thing was.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what that actually is. And that's one of the things, like last week when we talked with Sharita, there's so many, I mean, obviously they have to condense a whole year into 2 hours, so I get it. But it's like those little pivotal moments that I was just like, okay, something drastic had to have happened to make her get to this point where she was like, look, I want out.
Yeah, after talking to Sharita last week on our episode, my mind, when I watch Extreme Weight Loss, I'm like, okay, what's really going on behind the scenes? And I think that it was just something that happened. Maybe, you know, an argument, who knows? But whatever it was enough like to trigger her to want to go home. So she, but Heidi talked her out of it, which is good. So she ended up staying.
She always does. We love Mama Heidi.
Yes, Heidi's like, I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that she stayed because her transformation was amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, once she got that mind shift, which of course there's always in the very beginning, especially during boot camp, there is this pinnacle moment where something just clicks. And for her, it was when they were climbing the stairs and she was complaining. And it was almost like the first time, it was like, okay, great. But Chris was like, oh no, you think you're only going to do this once? Psych, you're going to do it twice.
Yeah. And it was awesome because when she did get to the top, she was like, oh, I can do it. And Chris was saying, you know, for the longest time in her whole entire life, she just feels like she can't do anything. And that was a moment for her, like you said, where she finally felt like, oh, I can do something. Yeah. And she got really excited about it. She almost felt liberated that she did that. Yeah. And that was just her moment, like a breaking moment for her where she was like, this is possible. Yeah. Like I can see in the future me losing the weight.
Yeah. And I mean, I love moments like that because to me it shows just that human side. Because I mean, everybody in some area of their life, whether it be weight loss, whatever the case may be, you've gotten to that point where you're like, I don't really know if it's for me. Yeah. I don't really know if I can do this. And then until you prove to yourself that you can, and Chris always knows how to pull that out of you. Yeah. It's then you get that confidence to like, all right, let's do this, and that's exactly what she did.
That's so true. I like how you said that because it is true. Like in life, when we want something so bad, sometimes we get to those points where we're like, I don't know if this is for me. It's too hard. Like, is it ever going to happen? But once you just really do reach those the top of the stair, you're like, oh, okay, this is why I'm doing this in the first place. It's possible.
Maybe we should go stair climbing.
I think so. I think we'll learn a lot about ourselves. Clearly, we've been seeing it in Extreme Weight Loss.
I keep putting my foot in my mouth. Last week it was I'm gonna backflip, and this week I'm climbing stairs. I don't know what's going on.
How's the backflip going, by the way?
It's not. So I need to do better.
Morgan, you said.
You're right.
You better get to it.
I'm working on my arm strength.
The viewers are watching you, man.
Yeah. Oh, yes, you're right. But enough about me. Moving on. So she got this built confidence. She's moving up the stairs, and then she writes her son a letter.
Yeah, that was really cool. Yeah. It totally changed her outlook on everything because she was nervous to do it, and I really like that Heidi was right there by her side. Heidi is awesome. I just love them. They're so genuine. They're genuine people, and Heidi was sitting right there. She was nervous. She was like, I reached out to my son, and he emailed her back, and he was just like, I'm a little skeptical about it, but I want to. So I was just like, oh, I screamed. I
We always scream.
I got really excited because you saw her her eyes light up.
Yeah.
And she was just super, like, just happy.
Yeah.
Super happy.
I think because that was one of the first times even just getting something reciprocated. And then fast forward to a little bit later, his birthday comes around, and his 19th birthday. And so she hasn't spoken to her son, I mean, ever. I mean, because the last time she saw him, he was a newborn, so obviously couldn't speak at all.
Right.
So here you are 19 years later, and Heidi really pushed her to, like, you can call your son. Like, he's still your son. And her face, like,
oh my goodness.
literally was just, like, beaming from ear to ear during the whole conversation.
Yeah, because you never know how that's going to turn out.
Yeah.
You know, like in your mind, you're probably thinking, you know, I abandoned them. They don't want to have anything to do with me. So it takes a lot of courage to just pick up the phone and call.
Yeah.
And he answered, and his response was awesome. He was like, yeah, you know, I'll call you back. I'm just doing this with my fridge. And she was just like, you're going to call me back? Okay. You know, she was so happy. It was a great moment. It was such a great moment.
Yeah, it was almost like that moment of, like, falling in love all over again, except it was different because it was with her son, which was kind of cool. And but I think because it's always some type of drive and motivation that really pushes them to, like, start kicking butt. And it was almost like I almost wish for her sake that she would have been able to talk to her son earlier in the phases of boot camp, because I think even if she had talked to him, like, midway through, that driving, motivating factor would have been even more to, I think, have helped her hit her goal, because she was pretty shy of her goal. Her goal was to lose 100 pounds. She only lost 77.
Yeah, she was definitely off, but I mean, timing's everything. I think absolutely if she would have talked to her son earlier, it would have kicked her into gear, and she would have met her goal. I totally believe that.
Yeah.
But she totally changed and transformed, like, her mind. Like, as soon as she talked to her son, it gave her a reason to even go after her goal even more. She was like, okay, I want to meet my son in person one day, but I don't want him to meet me like this. I want him to be proud of me. So that just was, like, a whole nother thing for her. Once she talked to her son, she was, like, in gear, and she did change. Like, she was going after her workout.
Yeah, I think was talking to her son. Then she also said that she had no trust. Like, she knew Chris and Heidi obviously are great people, but she, even with them, didn't fully trust them.
Yeah.
And I think Heidi really helping her through that moment. She said, I finally learned how to trust.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
So it was really cool, too. So she goes back home. She's looking fly. She's got her brown hair now.
What? She
I like
was looking like a baddie,
I really liked the brown hair. She looked awesome. It really popped her eyes out.
Yeah.
And so she goes back home. Everybody's excited to see her. And then we have surprise people come. It's Chris and Heidi there. And they're not supposed to be there because this is when she goes home. It's the second phase. But they're there because they have a big surprise for her. And it's her son.
Yes.
There to see him for the first time in person 19 years later after she gave birth.
He looks just like her.
Yeah, they're like twins.
You can tell it was that super awkward moment of, like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. But this is also really terrifying to have met someone after 19 years.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, not even to... They haven't seen each other for 19 years, but to do it on national TV and a room full of people, that's intense. Yeah. But it was just, I'm glad that they showed that moment. It was really awesome. Yeah. They both were just, like, crying, and he received her. He could have been like, you know, I don't know who you are, but he definitely received her, and you just felt the love between both of them. Yeah. And it was cool.
And I think that helped her too, because I mean, obviously, like Heidi even said, like, I can't imagine what that's like to give your son up for adoption, but her whole reason for it was because she wanted him to be able to have the life that she knew she couldn't give him. And so I think to hear from him that the parents that he had gave him everything, I think that really gave her comfort of almost of even, well, maybe this really was the right thing to do.
Her comfort, and I think he got comfort too when she was just like, hey, I did this because I wanted you to have a better life. Yeah. I feel like he really believed what she was saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they both got comfort from one another, I feel. Yeah. It was awesome. Yeah. I got excited.
I love that. Yeah. So, I mean, so she's on this high. They said, and I wish, again, these are those moments that we wish we could hear even more of the conversations, like, how do you in a night recap your whole 19 years of life to him to her and her to him? So I'm sure there were probably really great, amazing stories. So, but here she comes. She's off this high. She just met her son. And then she gets to come home to Ryan. The house was a mess.
Yeah.
Alcohol everywhere. I mean, the man looks like he hadn't done laundry in all of 3 months. I mean...
That's not funny. It is a little bit.
It got real.
Yeah. She was on this amazing high, and then she had to go home, and it was just like... what she expected.
Yeah.
They made that pact in the beginning, and she expected to go home and him to fulfill that. And
right.
She was so angry, and I was angry with her. I was really upset. I was just like, what's Beer doing in the fridge? Her flower's dead. How dare you? I was mad with her.
I was livid. I wanted to go there right now, find a broom, a vacuum, everything, and...
Yeah, I was, because we talked to Sharita again last week, and we talked about her and her husband, Georgiana, and her husband, and I felt like they were super supportive, and I was kind of on edge of my seat when I was watching this episode. I didn't feel that from him, so I got really frustrated and a little angry. I was just like, come on, man.
Ryan, you disappointed. But you redeemed yourself.
You did redeem it. We'll get to that. But I thought it was really intense that Chris was like, okay, let's go ahead and sit him down. I felt awkward, like, that he confronted him. I don't know. How did you feel?
But, no, it was. I mean, I think what was difficult was that, I mean... Chris and Heidi, they know. Like, they know, even Chris talked about it, like, Heidi and I are very different. Heidi is very organized, keep it together, and I'm just, like, free bird spirit. Yeah. So he knows being opposite can work, and it's supposed to be that support system. But I think what he knew is that her coming back home to that, especially when she left feeling like we're on the same page, and then to come back and not have that, I think they knew that that would really kill her chances of really achieving the weight loss that she wanted to.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think in transformations like this, and when you go through a process like this, having a support system is crucial. You need that. I mean, this is your husband, and if he's like eating fast food and drinking beers next to you, like, sure, you would have, the willpower to not go there, but you want the person that you love to be on this same train with you. So yeah, Chris, support system is really, really important. Yeah. And he wasn't being that for her.
Yeah, and I mean, and there's so much of their relationship. He did cheat on her 3 years ago into the marriage. So I'm sure the reciprocate, all of that just continuing to happen just really weighed down on her. And then to get to this point, she just looks around at that house and she was like, I don't deserve this. And I was sitting in my seat like, you don't deserve it either.
No, you don't. You do not deserve that. But he did say at the end, he was like, I'm sorry I messed up. Totally, I'm all in. But I wasn't sold. Were you sold?
Heck no.
I wasn't sold either.
I wanted Ryan. I really wanted to. But I was just like, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
But I felt like he was saying what he knew was going to keep the peace.
Yeah.
But I wasn't buying it completely.
I think there's just more to be talked about, more stuff to dig, which we saw in the episode.
Totally.
But at this point, I just don't feel like he had hit that yet.
Yeah.
So he was just kind of saying what he needed to say to be like, okay, I'm behind you, but I totally wasn't sold by it. I was like, no, I don't believe you.
But because I think Heidi and Chris knew that she wasn't going to get the support from him, which is why they brought in the reinforcer, Mr. Double D, Donald Driver, NFL wide receiver, to basically help coach her through, because she needed somebody to be her backbone. And I think that they knew that Ryan, in that period, was not going to be able to do that.
Yeah, I'm glad that they brought him in. Yeah. And it was cool. I think it was helpful, too, because she even said, she was like, normally when I'm upset, I turn to food. Yeah. But she was like, but now I'm turning to exercise. I don't know if that helped her. It could have went the wrong way, but she took it and she was like, I'm upset right now. I'm going to go to the gym. So she did it the right way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was glad that they brought him in to help out, because I feel like they knew that she did need more support that she wasn't going to get from Ryan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So she goes through this period, and at the end of the 6 months, of course, we always have the 6-month milestone, and they gave her and Ryan a trip to Hawaii.
Hawaii, aloha.
Which was a very interesting trip.
Yeah, very, very interesting. I love Chris for this episode. I was blown away by the 6-month mile marker. Just the way he set it up, he just knew exactly. It was like a metaphor
Ridiculous.
of their relationship. I was just like, this is perfect.
Absolutely.
I loved how he just set that up. Yeah, it was great.
It was amazing. I mean, so basically, with this golf, I would call it like golf love challenge. It's basically
Hashtag crazy in love golf tournament.
Yep. Tweet that. Tweet that, listen to it. But speaking of listen to, hopefully you're tuning in now. But if you have not, of course, make sure you go on and listen to us and all the AfterBuzz TV shows on iTunes. Yes. Tell a friend, like it, give us all type of amazing stars. So
and if you're watching this and you love tonight's episode, let us know about it in the comment section below. Yes. And tell us what you guys thought about Ryan. Were you sold? Did you like him? Did you not like him? Let us know in the comments below.
I need to talk to Ryan.
But he changed.
He did. I mean, the golf course challenge was
a breakthrough moment.
Yeah, it really was. So basically, I mean, what I did love about it is that it completely was a metaphor for their relationship.
Yeah.
Chris took what Ryan loved to do, which was golfing, and doing whatever the heck he wants, which seems like that's what he had been doing, period.
Right.
And then making her actually carry
his
the
caddy.
weight. Yeah, carry his caddy and an additional 115 pounds, which is what she had lost total by that point. So she's walking around in the heat, carrying all this weight, while he's just enjoying his life, golfing it away. And something tells me that that's very representative of home life.
Yeah, it's crazy because in order for them to move on and take the weight off of her, he would have to get these birdies or pars. I think that's what they're called.
Yeah.
I'm not a golfer. I don't know.
Terms. We'll look it
But
up.
golf terms. Yeah, so he's going up and he's just like missing all of the shots. And this poor woman in the hot sun has 115 pounds and his caddy on her back. It's like, pull it together. And what I got most upset about was Chris was like, she's put him in school. Or golfing school.
Yeah, to be in the PGA. Look, you know what?
If I'm paying for you to go to golfing school, you better get this par or birdie or whatever it's called.
My Diary of a Mad Black Woman attitude came out because I was sitting there watching him missing shot after shot, going out of bounds into the water, into the sand, into everything, and I'm thinking she paid his way to go to PGA's school. And yet he can't get the ball in the hole so I can take this weight off. Cassie, you are so much better than me, honey, because I
had to give it to her. I was like, oh, she's being so encouraging.
Extremely encouraging.
Like the first, couple of hits, she was, okay, honey, it's okay, you're doing great.
I learned a lot.
I thought that was awesome that she was so encouraging because I'm over here like, really?
I know.
Get it together. I paid for your school. You better hit the 115 pounds. But I give it up to her. She was so nice and so sweet and encouraging. But it got to a point where it was no longer a golf game. It was their relationship.
It was real life.
She wasn't even like mad about the golf game. She literally broke down and she was just like, I am tired of carrying your weight.
Yeah.
Not literally, but like.
With everything.
I just thought it was crazy where there's just a breaking moment.
Yeah.
She wasn't going to have it anymore.
And it was interesting because as we kind of go through, Chris was talking about how Ryan was just complaining about everything. Like my favorite, I wrote down some of my favorite Ryan complaints. Ryan, I promise we really do love you.
We do love you, Ryan.
But this was a good one. He said he couldn't get the ball in the hole, and then he said, I never putted on this surface before. It's very strange. And I looked at the surface, and it kind of just looks like, grass that most people golf on. But again, I feel like that was their relationship.
Yeah, it was.
He tries and he does whatever, and I think what I don't question is his love for her.
Absolutely.
I really truly believe that. I really, and you can see that because you could start to see that he actually was even getting upset with himself.
Yeah.
That he really was trying hard, and the more he tried, the more he just kept missing. And I think you could tell he was upset that he couldn't come through for her. But then he still had the excuses and all these different things, and yet she was just so supportive. I mean, I was humbled. I was like, that's what I need to be a little more like. But she was so supportive. She was so nice. She was like, come on, honey, you can do it. It's okay. As she's hunched over with all this weight. And
and then it was the point where, you know, Chris brought her aside when she did break down. He was like, look, like, this is your relationship, okay? He's perfectly imperfect, right? And he was just saying, you know, he's going to make mistakes. He's not going to be perfect, but are you willing to, you know, accept that? Are you willing to work through with him? And then this is where we kind of see like a breakthrough where they talk and she's just like, you know, hey, like, I can't carry your load all the time, but like, I'm willing to do this with you. And he was just like, I'm sorry, I want to do for you. And then he starts finally being a golf pro that we knew you were, Ryan.
Ryan, I'm not going to lie. I kid you not, me and Jack are sitting there. I'm like, I don't know if I believe him. And then when you started just killing it and laughing and smiling, and I saw the transformation.
This is when we fell in love with you, Ryan.
We did.
We had a heart change. Because we knew we were bad. We were bad. We got mad at Ryan. But sorry. Ryan, forgive us, okay? Because we know you love her. Just forgive us. Just forgive us.
So then we continue to go through phase 3, and they are just killing it together.
Yes.
So this is the first time where it's not just about Cass. We see both of them completely changing their lives. Water at dinner, healthy dinner, working out together, and they lit up the screen where it wasn't just Cass anymore. It was both of them.
Yeah, for the first time and throughout the whole episode, I finally saw them as a couple. Yeah. I think after they left Hawaii, this is the first time where I really feel like they're doing things together as a team. So, you saw the transformation. After they left Hawaii, everything was different. They're eating together, they're working out together, and they're having fun.
Yeah, they put Xmas cards on their TV stands. I love it.
They were having a lot of fun, so that was really cool to see them change.
And they changed together, and of course, I think that was ultimately why she changed so much. So we hit the 9-month mark. Her goal was 202 pounds. She didn't quite hit it just yet. She was a little shy, but she still lost 145 pounds, and she made up a huge gap in phase 3, which rarely ever happens.
Yeah, phase 3 is always phase 3 is always like a hit or miss, I feel.
Yeah.
But it's really cool. She went to go see if she was going to apply for the skin surgery at this point. And she said no. They told her that she could get the skin surgery, but she was like, you know what? I don't feel like I'm there yet, and I don't want to do it the easy way. And I really like that she decided to lose more weight instead of just being like, okay, just let's go into surgery and just get it all removed. So I love that she made that decision to keep working harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Because for her, I think it became less about the weight loss, but for so many of them, it becomes about this whole life journey. And her goal for herself was actually to hit 173 pounds because that's what her weight was when she had Nathan, her son.
Yeah, that was
huge for her.
Yeah, I think all the things that were happening in her life were just like metaphors. It was crazy, like that, you know, just wanting to lose that weight. It signified so much more. Yeah. And I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I always try to think of like if I'm ever in those positions, like to be there in the doctor's office, knowing that you want to get this excess skin off, what would you do? Like, would you turn it down, knowing that potentially you may not get down or get that opportunity again, or take it right there and then?
I don't know. That takes a lot of courage to turn that down. But I mean, it's good because it pushed her to work out more. But for me, if I'm in that office and they're like, skin surgery, I would probably be like, okay. I don't know. I don't know what I would do. But kudos to her for just wanting to work hard.
For sticking it out.
Yeah.
Because I think part of what she wanted to be able to be reconciled with her son, which she was, and to be able to actually really... She felt like, she said for the first time, she actually felt like they were a married couple instead of just distant roommates.
Right. I seriously want them to do an extreme weight loss show for all of them after all the episodes are over, like the behind the scenes. Because I wanted to see, you know, the dynamic. Now knowing, like, her and her husband, everybody else, like, I want to see what that was like. I bet Sharita was just in the back like, girl, you better get it together.
We gotta hear from Sharita, because I'm sure that she had
the juice.
She has the juice of everything.
It's like, why was she upset? Why did she want to go home, Sharita? Let us know. You know, Sharita.
The gossip. So we get to, of course, it's always still my favorite, the final weigh-in, and she in that blue dress.
She looked
amazing.
She looked really good. She looked awesome.
And Ryan looked good.
Yeah, Ryan looked good too. You could totally tell that he's lost a lot of weight. And he looked awesome. They both looked really great. And I was really excited to see her son there. Yeah. I just love it because it was so emotional. Like, his eyes were getting all teary, and it was just, he even said, he was like, you know, they told me that I was going to be surprised, but I didn't think I was going to be that surprised, but I am surprised. He was, like, blown away by his mom's transformation, so that was really nice to see them just get back together again.
Yeah, it was great. And, I mean, of course, she gets on the scale. Her goal was to at least get to 173 pounds, because that was the weight that she was when she first had Nathan.
Right.
And she killed it, 173 pounds, and she got all the way down to 171.
That was awesome. It was just like the perfect ending to everything, because, you know, she had all of that pent up from, you know, she gave him away, and she was 170 pounds. Yeah. So for her to be at 171, less than that weight, you're just like, yes, victory. I was really excited for her. It was like the perfect ending.
Yeah, so in total, she lost 176 pounds.
To me, she looked unrecognizable. She didn't even look like who she used to be. She looked completely different. She looked beautiful.
Because I think she had a complete change. Outward, inward. Her hair color was fabulous. And she even said it. She said, I feel like a butterfly.
I liked when she said that. She was like, before, you know, I was just a woman with, like, a black hole, black soul. I don't know what she said, but something black. And then she was like, but now I feel like a butterfly. I just felt, like, free with her, you know, like. But, yeah, it was
We do things like that.
Butterfly.
So, amazing transformation. I'm curious to see, or even hear from you, what do you think is going to happen with her, and even with Ryan moving forward? Let's get into some predictions.
Let's do it. I think hashtag
and now,
Crazy in Love.
AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Yeah, I'm going to say hashtag Crazy in Love. I think that they definitely are going to just remain married. They have, like, this new lifestyle together, working out, eating good. And I think she even said she wanted to start her own family. So I think maybe they're going to work on kids. I don't know. Hey. And I really hope that her and her son stay connected somehow. I don't know, you know, what's going to happen. I really would like to hear about if they, you know, if they still have a relationship with one another, but hopefully so.
And I think it's cool when the fact that he's older, so he's over 18, so now it really can be his decision. He can, you know, make the effort and vice versa. So I think they're really going to continue a lot. He seemed really inspired by her and vice versa. So we love a happy ending.
It was such a good episode. But next week looks really intense. We saw a preview of
Sarah.
Sarah is her name, and she is a dwarf, so she's smaller, and she never felt like she fit in, so she actually went to be a nun so that she, you know, could fit in, but instead she went to this place where people are supposed to be accepting, and they weren't accepting, and it caused her to run to food. So it's, like, really intense.
This episode, it's so many layers already just in the preview, so I'm really, really excited to see how Heidi and Chris, the Powell pack, finish this one.
The Powell pack.
But they've been successful so far. We're no losses. Everybody's been
we had one
victorious.
Loss.
Ooh, yeah.
We had one loss.
Tie.
Tie. You know, all the rest of them victorious.
Everybody's so I've got faith in Sarah. Sarah's gonna come.
Yeah,
through.
for sure, definitely. another extreme weight loss show where I had anxiety. It was great. I enjoyed it. What about you?
We love it always. It's always an up and down roller coaster. And of course, make sure you tune in to us next week for another episode of Extreme Weight Loss AfterBuzz Edition. I'm your host, Morgan Martin. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter on ms_Morgan Martin.
And I'm Jackie Powell. You can find me on Instagram at Jackie_POW or on Twitter at Jackie with 2 E's _POW. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you so much.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.